Hello everyone, my name is Melody Lone. I am one of the members from BTB Beijing. Today in this video, I would like to introduce one music style in the 20th century, which is called the Impressionism. I will start by a brief overview of the time length of this period, and then I'll explain some common music features of the Impressionistic music, and the three most representative composers who wrote music in this style. Okay, so before we start, I have a question. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word Impressionism? I believe that some people's first reaction will be some artists and artworks, right? I am supposing we all know Claude Monet, the painter, and his most famous artworks includes Impression Sunrise and the Water Lilies, right? And we also know Starry Night by Van Gogh. So the Impressionist era of music began around the late 19th century, which is also the late Romantic era. The musicians who joined this movement were trying to develop a new music form, focusing on creating an image by their music, or you can explain it as painting an invisible artwork in the audience's mind through the music. And that's why most of the Impressionist music focus on creating the mood, emphasizing the atmosphere, stirring your emotion, and using symbolism. So here comes the characteristics, or you can say the music features of the Impressionistic music. First is the avoidance of the organized structures. If you've heard of the music from Baroque era, Classical era, or the Romantic era, you'll find that you can always identify a clear structure in the music. You can always identify a main theme of the music. But this kind of clear structure is what the Impressionist musicians were trying to prevent in their compositions. The second one would be inharmonic. The composers used chromatic scales, pentatonic scales, and the whole tone scales, and sometimes atonality. They're trying to escape from the traditional music form, which the melodies are clear and melodious, whereas the chord progressions are harmonic. The Impressionist musicians are jumping out from the fence by using new chord combinations, extended harmonies that create sense of flow but dissonance. You don't always recognize the melody very clearly because sometimes they just flow with the music as a whole. As I said, comparing to the music eras before, the intention of musicians shifts from creating melodious music to drawing a strong image, creating mood and atmosphere. The first composer I'm going to introduce is Claude Debussy. He was a French composer born on August 22, 1862, and passed away on March 25, 1918. He's actually my favorite composer. Although he rejected the title, but he was still one of the most important Impressionist composers. Debussy was born in a family with very poor education, but he started learning piano since a young age. At the age of 10, he was sent to study music in the Conservatory of Paris. At first, he focused on piano skill. According to the information, he wasn't only good at playing pieces, but was also good at sight reading. Later on, he started to develop his composing skills. However, at the beginning of the process, he already showed the incapability to follow the old rules of composition. He was meant to start a new chapter in the music world. Affected by different kinds of culture and art forms, Debussy had included a variety of elements in his music. One of his most shocking masterpieces was Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. It was a symphonic piece, and many people call it symphonic poem. The composition process finished in 1894. This symphonic poem was inspired by a poem of Stephen Mallarmé, which had the same title. The music piece was extremely shocking at the time and was commented as the turning point of the Western music. Another famous music piece from Debussy was called Clair de Lune, translated as Moonlight in English. This piano piece was the third movement from Suite Bergamasque. I believe this piece is extremely popular because it had been performed by many famous pianists and was used as background music in many movies and TV shows. The most recent movie I can recall is called Atonement. The third famous piece from Debussy was Reverie. It was composed in 1980, and I'll be performing a short piece from this composition. next composer I'll be introducing is Joseph Maurice Ravel. He was also a French composer, born on March 7, 1875 and passed away on December 28, 1937. Different from Debussy, Ravel was born in a family that was extremely passionate about music, especially his mother. Later on, just as Debussy, he entered the Conservatory of Paris. Despite being expelled from the conservatory in 1895, Ravel met his lifelong teacher, Gabriel Fauré, who found the creativity and the wealth of imagination of Ravel. By blending different kinds of elements into his music and experimenting with them, Ravel had developed his unique music style, which was still framed by pretty much traditional features, but also including new bold features, such as jazz. His style of music is complex and glorious. His most representative piece includes Bolero, an orchestra piece which keeps repeating this theme throughout the whole music. This was considered an avant-garde composition at that time. Another famous piece is a piano music called Juxtu, translated as Fountain. This is an amazing piece that gives audiences a clear image of water flowing by. The piece I'll be presenting is called Pavane for a Dead Princess. This is also one of the best-known piano pieces from Ravel. The last composer in this video is Eric Satie, a French composer and pianist. He was regarded as an Impressionist composer, even though there are still some controversies about it. Satie was greatly influenced by Ravel and minimalist composers such as John Cage. His compositions, usually piano solo, were featured as unresolved and extended chord. His most representative piece, and is what I'm going to present later on, is called Gymnopédies. This piece is considered as one of his most known compositions.